they went ahead and dated it, but it doesn't go into effect until the mayor executes it. So I just wanted to make sure that we're not backdating this. That's fine. I'm just gonna line through it and put today's date. So, and these will be in your box in the morning. Yep. And the only other thing is that whenever, I'm gonna send you 2 of these back, when you get a fully executed one, make sure you just scan it. And I'll put a note in there to make sure that you get me an executed copy. Thank you.
He's already got the sign. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Like you're not the only one. I do it all the time. Not up here though.
Okay. I'll make sure we're on the same page, because I think we misunderstood. Well, I just want to talk to you about that. Okay. If you got time.
If we make the first motion, if you'll make the second, then we can split it.
Just roll
you look
through.
alone over there.
Okay. I am alone. If you felt that bad about it, you'd move over there and sit by it.
Yeah.
Well, way to call me out there.
Well, you're the one that identified the problem. Don't come in with your problem. Come in with your solution.
Thank you.
Don't have Calvin come over here.
Yeah. I'm fine.
We'll squeeze one more in over here.
Your mic on?
Yeah, make sure they're on, because we're past 7 o'clock.
Oh, are we?
You all ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes. No.
Watch everybody on staff. Watch everybody on staff jump right here. Don't shoot me if I hit this wrong. Good evening. I'll call this meeting of the Cartersville City Council to order. After Carrie takes that call, we'll have the invocation and pledge.
Sorry.
Join me as we pray. Our dear gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you tonight, just thanking you for the opportunity to come and serve the great city of Cartersville. Thank you for this time to come and do the business for the city. Thank you for our administration, for our department heads that are here tonight, and those who will be presenting. And thank you for this time. Go before us, give us wisdom and knowledge to make these decisions. And it's in your name we pray.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please break the roll, please.
Carrie Hodge, Ward 1. Here. Jay Stepp, Ward 2. Carrie Rolfe, Ward 3.
Here.
Calvin Cooley, Ward 4.
Here.
Gary Fox, Ward 5.
Here.
Taft Wren, Ward 6.
Thank you, Julia. First order of business, the approval of our council meeting minutes from our previous meeting. That was on July 1st. You've had an opportunity to look those over and make any changes if there are any to be made. Now would be the time to note those changes. If there are none, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved unanimously. Mr. Dooley, get us started off this evening, please, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The electric department has an agreement that we need to get approval for the mayor and city clerk to sign off on with our customer at 111 Mercer Lane. They've installed a solar power generation source, which roof-mounted solar panels that I'm sure you recognize. Whenever someone attaches these power generation sources to our system, such as solar power, they are required to meet certain guidelines to prevent negative impact to our system. We also must visually inspect and field test that system before this agreement is signed, and that's been done at this time. The system works properly. The terms for operating the solar system are outlined in the provided standard agreement that you have and have been agreed on by the owner of the system. We're just requesting authorization to allow the mayor and city clerk to sign and execute the agreement on the city's behalf.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions for John on this item? If not, a motion's in order.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you,
you.
John. Mr. Gillum, you got the next three, please, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. First one is the new program providers that we have, the contracts for them. They'll be offering these programs through the Parks and Recreation Department. First one is Act One Academy. They'll be offering a voice, dance, theater classes and camps that'll be out of the Civic Center. Champions Fast Pitch is a girls' fast pitch softball organization, and they'll be doing camps and clinics only for us. And then Legion Lacrosse will be doing lacrosse leagues and camps for us. All of these new program providers will be giving 20% of their gross revenue, including all of the non-resident fees, back to the city. And these new program providers are recommended for your approval.
Thank you. Questions for Tom on this item? If not, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, please, Tom.
These are renewal program providers. These are previous program providers that we've had in-house that have been running programs for us through their organizations. These renewals are with Cartersville Little League to offer youth baseball. Their registration fees will be reinvested back into Hicks Park. Southern Soccer Academy, they'll be offering youth soccer and camps, and they'll be giving the city all of the non-resident fees. Top Shelf Concessions is our concessions provider, and 15% of their monthly gross sales will be given back to the city. And Wire to Wire is doing running clubs and camps for us, and 20% of their gross registration fee and all the non-resident fees will be given back to the city. So these renewal program providers are recommended for your approval.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for this item? If not, a motion's in order.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Continue on, please, Tom.
Next one is a memorandum of understanding with the City of Cartersville and Cartersville Gymnastics Booster Club, Inc. The Booster Club's agreed to pay the gymnastics coaches the travel to competitions, per diem, and any travel-related expenses. In addition, the Booster Club will be allowed to hire part-time coaches to assist with the overall gymnastics program. And these part-timers will be an employer or independent contractor of the Booster Club. And upon approval, this contract will run through June 30th of 2022, and this MOU is recommended for your approval.
I do have a question with that. I didn't
Yes, sir.
see in the MOU. Hiring requirements, background screenings and things like that, will they need to go through the city standard? Even though they're gonna be their employees, they're still gonna have to follow our standards.
Yes, sir, they apply through the Booster Club, and then based upon if they want to hire them, whether it be an employer or an employee or a contract employee or a volunteer, they submit those names to us, and we run them through our national NSIC. I keep wanting to say NCIS. NSIC is the,
Yeah.
and they run a national background check, and we get that back, and then we submit it back to the Booster Club.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? If not, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion
Thank you.
carries unanimously. Thank you, Tom. Mr. Molinax, you are up next, sir.
Mayor, Council, we're asking for approval of an engineering agreement with Rent McDuff Associates. It's for a situation we've had develop on a section of sewer which conveys flows from Atco over to our interceptor sewer. The support piers in Pettit Creek and on the banks of it have shifted, and there's a potential for a sewer break. And so we would like to design a reroute that will allow us to eliminate this aerial sewer crossing and head off, a potential sewer leak. The agreement's with Rent McDuff Associates for an amount of $99,400 for design and contract administration.
Okay. Thank you. Are there questions for Ed on this? Is there any discussion? If there's not, a motion is in order.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ed. Mr. Wilson, you are up.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Public Works is seeking permission for the mayor to sign the GDOT 2022 LMIG cover letter and any grant-related applications of this document. We're proposing to resurface 4.73 miles of city streets this year. The grant for this year is $278,091.27. The estimated total project cost is $800,000. The balance will come from 2020 SPLOST. This is a budgeted item, and we do recommend approval of this application.
Thank you. Questions for Wade on this item?
I have one question I should have asked earlier, but the 4.73 miles that we're gonna be working on, how is that, are we on target for our goal to do every year, or are we a little bit below that?
You know, I'm not sure what Mr. Sanders put this together, and I'm assuming it is because it's much more significant in it than it has been in the past.
I guess the goal is to pave as much as we can for the money that we have available.
Yes.
We got the 600 a year that
Yep.
comes out of SPOST, and then whatever LMIG does, and that's kind of,
Yeah,
we'd like to pave 20 miles with it. But
right, and this
yeah.
project is much more significant than it has been, so.
It's budget-wise, 800,000. I mean, the combined between LMIG is a little more than last year. So we are trying to inch that up every year if we can with that.
Yeah, I know that we have talked about that before, about moving that, and get that amount up, so, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Wade on this? If not, a motion's in order.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Dixon. You've got a couple for us tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Hello.
The gas system is requesting the purchase of approximately 800 gallons of odorant to fill our tanks at our 3 delivery points. GPM Equipment Sales is the sole provider in this area and submitted a quote of $19,600. Depending on the delivery date, more odorant could be required, so we're requesting a not-to-exceed amount of $21,000, and this is a budgeted item.
Thank you. Questions, comments, or motions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next one, please, sir.
Yes, sir. The gas system received sealed bids after advertising this main extension project for 4 weeks. A single bid of $161,195.50 was submitted by Southeastern Natural Gas Services of Rome, Georgia. This extension is covered by 2 separate extension agreements previously approved by council. This extension is fully reimbursable, and we recommend your approval.
Thank you. Questions, comments, or motions? Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Chief McCann, you're up, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a request to purchase 5 replacement patrol vehicles and 1 unmarked vehicle. We sent out bids. We also put it on the city's website and Georgia procurement website. We received 2 bids back for each series of vehicles. The patrol vehicles are 2022 Ford Explorers. The low bid on that is $166,044.60, and the unmarked vehicle is a 2022 Jeep Cherokee. Low bid from Robert Laura Ford, it's $27,256. I'm requesting your approval, and we're going to pay for it through lease pool.
So all 6 of those vehicles coming from,
Now, 5 are coming from Prater Ford.
Prater.
One is coming
From
from
Robert
Robert
Laura.
Laura. Yes, sir.
okay? Any other questions? What happens to the 5 other vehicles that we're replacing? Those go
We
with-
surplus it in the on gov deals.
Gotcha.
And it's not going to exceed $320,000. I'm requesting not to exceed $320,000, including all the equipment.
Okay. Thank you. And this will be lease pool, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other questions? If not, a motion.
Make a
to
motion.
approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Chief. Mr. Menino?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. This is our annual City View maintenance invoice. It's our operating software that helps us process and permits, licensing, and code enforcement. The amount is $20,261.32, and it is a budgeted item.
Thank you. Any questions for Randy? If not, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. While you're up there, Chair will entertain a motion to add an item.
Motion to approve adding an item.
Second.
All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye. 1
item added. Trying to save you steps, Randy.
Thank you again. This is property located at 73 Mercer Lane. It was part of the first-time home buyers program. The owner and applicant has fulfilled their obligation. I believe they have a closing scheduled for tomorrow on that particular property. This is a standard process, and since they have fulfilled their obligation, we recommend your approval to authorize the signing of the quitclaim deed.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments, or motions on this?
Make a motion to sign the quitclaim deed.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Mr. Porta.
Yes, Mayor, I have an invoice from Matthews Garage for repair to the city vehicles involved in an accident back in April of $11,784.73. Our cost of this was $1,000 deductible. To recommend approval of this invoice payment.
Thank you. Any questions for Dan? If not, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve the invoice payment.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next one, please.
Yes, sir. I'd like to honor Justice Robert Benham with a naming of between Highway 41 and Irwin Street to Justice Robert Benham Drive. And the resolution before you tonight is recommended for approval.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
I have one question. Are we gonna read this tonight, or are we gonna read this at another date?
There is going to be an event that is going to be honoring Justice Benham on July 29th that I think it would be appropriate to read it then.
All right.
We could read it now if you'd like, but I think I'd prefer to try to put as much in the spotlight at that event. The American Bar Association Commissioner's Office is a community event that'll be at the Booth Museum and the Bartow History Museum, but I think on July 29th that'll be appropriate.
Very good.
Good. I do want to thank Dan and Councilman Cooley for their leadership and creative idea of doing this and finding a way to honor somebody that's truly worthy of it. So, that being said, Chair will entertain a motion. Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next one, please, Dan. Oh, never mind. That was your signature. You're a model of efficiency. You can't check these things off quick enough. Mr. Morgan, that's why you're standing up there, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The Downtown Development Authority wishes to create a festival zone for the 5 events that you have listed before you, requesting council approval for that.
Okay, thank you. Chair will entertain a motion.
I'd like to, are these just in that area over here? at
Yes, sir.
Vincent Plaza?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you. I usually ask for questions, and I just asked for a motion, so I apologize for that.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Council, the next couple items that relate to items in the downtown development area, we had a discussion during work session. I would kindly ask for a motion to table those next 2 items, if I may, or if council is willing to do so.
Motion. Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And so the next 2 items are tabled, and we'll send it back to Mr. Porter.
Yes, Mayor. My term on the Georgia Public Web Board is up, and I'd like to seek approval to the council to stay on that board, be renominated, and also to have the voting authorization from the city for that board.
Okay. I concur. Chair will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve that appointment.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I didn't hear you right. Sorry. Didn't want to assume anything. Mr. Reinhardt, good news only with the financial report tonight, please.
Honorable Mayor and Council will be looking at the May 2001 and comparing it to May 2020. The revenues in the general fund increased over last May by $35,000. I haven't seen that done in quite some time. Expenses in the general fund have decreased by $729,000. 2 areas of revenue that I look at on a monthly basis: local option sales tax have an increase there of about $231,000. Building permits and inspection fees have a decrease there of about $53,000. Water and sewer fund revenues decreased over last May by $37,000. Expenses increased by $194,000. This is due to increased personnel expenses, increased operating expenses, decreased capital expenses, increased debt service expenses, and increased transfers to the general fund. In the gas fund, revenues increased over last May by $1.174 million. Expenses increased by $1.415 million. And this is due to increased personnel expenses, increased operating expenses, increased cost of purchased gas, increased capital expenses, increased debt service expenses, and increased transfers to the general fund. In the electric fund, the revenues decreased over last year by $274,000. Expenses increased by $1.995 million. This is due to increased personnel costs, increased operating expenses, increased cost of purchasing electricity, increased capital expenses, and increased transfers to the general fund. Stormwater fund, revenues decreased over last May by $17,000. Expenses increased by $125,000. This is due to increased personnel expenses, increased operating expenses, and decreased capital expenses. Solid waste fund, revenues decreased over last May by $232,000, while expenses decreased $233,000. This is due to increased personnel expenses, increased operating expenses, and decreased capital expenses. And finally, the fiber optics fund, revenues increased over last May by $20,000. Expenses decreased by $29,000. This is due to increased personnel expenses, increased operating expenses, increased debt service expenses, decreased capital expenses, and increased transfers to the general fund. And if you give me a minute, I don't have all my paperwork here. Sorry.
You good?
The cash position for the month of May, unrestricted cash did increase, and restricted cash also increased.
Yeah.
SPOS, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
SPOS balances, 2003 SPOS, $43,189.85. SPOS 2014, $3,004, $134.35. The SPOS 2020 is $2,692,115.39.
Thank you. The electric fund, I know that number with the expenses, it's a little, I guess misleading would be because they purchase a glut of it at the beginning of the year. Is that a true statement? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that is something we're looking at, and talked to John a little bit about it, and I'll meet with Derek, and then, but yeah, the purchase cost of electricity is 1.37 million, as Tom pointed out, more this year than it was last fiscal year this time, so.
Okay.
The positive news, obviously, with the general fund is, you can see that net profit is much higher, and again, going into the COVID year, we didn't know what to anticipate, but we've turned the corner dramatically with the general fund, which is good for, and through Tom's department. I appreciate that, and like I said, through all the department heads of keeping that cost down.
Well, I guess that's why I bring it. I mean, that's one blip on it. It's one segment of it, and yeah, it just kind of leaps off the page, but the overall picture, as far as the city goes, is a very good one. I just want to make sure that was conveyed. So, any other questions for Tom?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Anything else need to come before council this evening?
If you would not mind,
Go right ahead.
I wanted to give a shout out to our Cartersville Police Department. Ward 1 specifically in the last month has needed a little extra patrol, and they have risen to the task. I've seen them often, and I just wanted to give a huge thank you, and I appreciate it.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else? There's none. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There you go.
If anybody wants to make a donation to the Unity and the Community Backpack Day.